I had to work that mute fast, and I couldn't get there.
Shall we kick it off?
Yes, we are. We are good to go. The recording is started at 7:30. Chairman, if you'd like to call the meeting to order.
Recording in progress.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. First on, we have a live in combination here with Zoom. So the pledge is in order. So Gunther, you want to lead us off in the pledge, please?
Sure.
Yep.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Jen, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Arnold?
Here.
Easter?
Here.
Gunther?
Here.
Rundell?
Here.
O'Rourke?
He's muted.
Dennis, that was you. O'Rourke?
Here.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, no request for agenda changes. I don't have any. Anyone? All right. Approval of minutes. I read through them. They look fine. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
I'll second
from
it.
January 31st, 2022.
All right. Support. Easter. Put the minutes through, please.
Sure. Roll call. Arnold?
Yep.
Gunther?
Yes.
Rundell?
Yes.
O'Rourke?
He's muted.
O'Rourke?
Yes.
Thank you. And Easter?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Jen, any communications?
No, sir, there are none.
All right. No unfinished business. So we'll move on to new business. Jen, would you like to read the first case in for us, 2022 or 2022-1?
Yes, Chairman, just a clarification. Would you like just the information read, or would you like all the 4 variance requests read as well?
Well, even though they're long, let's read all 4 entries.
Absolutely. Okay. Case number 1 is 2022-1. Applicant is Mr. Zachary Martin. The location is 2200 South Commerce Road. The request is for a non-use variance. This matter relates to the above referenced property. The site is a single-family residential lot located south and east of South Commerce Road and is zoned R1A single-family residential. The applicant is proposing to reconstruct a home destroyed by a fire, which would require the following 4 variances from the zoning ordinance. Variance 1, Section 51-18.03, Item 4, a variance from the requirement that any homestead shall be reconstructed only in conformance with existing regulations when a structure is destroyed to an extent greater than 100% of its state equalized value. Variance 2, Section 51-17.01A. 17.01, a 20.7-foot variance from the 30-foot minimum front yard setback. The home would be 9.3 feet from the front lot line. Variance 3, Section 51-17.01, a 28.4-foot variance from the 35-foot minimum rear yard setback. The home would be 6.6 feet from the rear lot line. Variance 4, Section 51-1702, Item M, a variance to exceed the 35% maximum allowed impervious surface lot coverage requirement. The applicant is proposing 48% of the lot area to be covered by impervious surface.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Mr. Wright, you said you had information you'd like to share with us. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Board Member Easter. This particular home, just so everyone's aware, was originally a pre-existing non-conforming home. About a year and a half ago, we had a fire there that was a result of an illegal marijuana growing facility. Majority of the fire occurred inside the garage. The garage is pretty well destroyed, but the remainder of the home, there was water damage and smoke damage to the home, but most of the fire was contained in the garage. We tried to get the original homeowner to take care of the repairs. After some pushing, they decided just to sell the house to the new property owner. When the new property owner took possession of the home, he came to us to let us know that he wants to rebuild the home. Between him and his father, they were working on putting a project together to get the home constructed. He did make a phone call to us, asked if he can do some work to clean up some of the damage to the house before he moved forward with submitting plans. As I said, the majority of the damage to the home was the garage. Well, as it turned out, about 90% of the home was torn down. Unbeknownst to myself, I was just thinking that he was going to do some removal and cleanup of the garage area, but the majority of the home was demolished. So because of that, that brings us to the situation where these variances are required now. Because it was pre-existing non-conforming, he's demolished about 90% of the home. The cost of repair is going to exceed the value of the equalized value of the home, is Mr. Ortega laid out for us in the variance request. I just wanted to give you a history of the home and make you aware of why we're here for these different variances.
Good. Thank you, sir. Is Mr. Martin in
Yeah,
to
yes.
speak on behalf to this? Okay.
Yes, please come. No, that's okay. I just wanted to introduce you for those audience members. We're doing a hybrid meeting, so thank you for your patience. Our applicant is here, Mr. Zachary Martin, and he does have his engineer available that's going to provide some information as well. They're at the podium now. And just when you do speak, just kind of lean into the microphone for us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Good evening, Board. I very much appreciate being here before you. Thank you for considering our project. Mr. Martin and his wife are newlyweds, and they have never taken on a project. They were very excited to be able to obtain this, what they believed was an existing structure. Obviously, when they started doing some of the tearing down of the garage, they found some other structural problems, which I think we all know how that turns out usually. So they ended up taking a little bit more than what had initially been hoped to take down. However, most of the walls surrounding the main old home are still standing. The garage walls are down. We are here requesting for replacement of the walls that were previously taken down with some miscellaneous reconfigurations. The closest request is the rear yard setback, which is that 6 feet, which is an existing wall. We're actually asking to leave that existing wall in place and to maintain it. I would also like to point out that the requested overage percentage coverage, impervious coverage, is actually being reduced by 12% from what was previously there. They had a pool in the rear yard that we would be looking, and pavement in the entire rear yard that we would be looking to remove and replace with vegetative soils. The existing boundary fence around the outside, which really provides a lot of screening from the neighbors. We would be leaving that in place, and they would be replacing what was previously there to look, I'm sure you guys have been around that corner. It's not a very pretty site right now. We'd really like to replace that with a much nicer facade, and much nicer. If you look at the architectural plans, it will look much nicer than what's currently been there. So we would be looking to get information and insight from you guys as to what your thoughts are on this project. But yes, please let us know. I would also like to point out, I apologize for this, South Commerce Road currently encroaches into this property. So the reason that we didn't go forward closer to the road is because that really is a corner that people are taking sometimes too quickly. We feel like if we were to push the house further into that setback area, that where it's allowed to be, that it would impose on the views around that corner, and we just feel that this further setback from that front lot line, because the road is encroaching on the property, is a better use of the site than encroaching further into that corner.
All right. Good, thank you. Anyone else that you would like to speak on this, or are we good to turn it over to the board? All right, then I'll turn it over to the board. Guys, any thoughts on this? I see one thing on the proposed addition to the front, pushing towards Commerce, is that correct?
Yes, they were
5 foot.
looking at putting a 4-foot, because the existing porch, they were looking at continuing that existing porch all the way across the frontage back to where the original garage stood.
Okay. So right now I see it as you would add the 5 foot, 30 some feet. You would get rid of the paved, replace with landscape, and tuck the porch into the existing lines of the house as it jets out to the eastern side, right?
Yes, that is what we're hoping to do.
Okay. So we're giving back there as well for impervious. Okay. Proposed addition to the back.
That proposed addition does not encroach any further on the property lines than what the current house is at. So we didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that actually kind of goes into the interior of the property, so that's a moot point. It actually shades away from the property lines. Also looking at this, they have a total of 233 square feet that you wish to add, looks like.
Yes, they would be adding that, and the garage would be living space rather than garage space.
Okay, so utilize existing.
Yes.
And the pool and the hardscape in back goes away.
Yes, all of that existing concrete and the pool are proposed to be removed.
So all the hardscape and the pool.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One thing you mentioned on the fence, I noticed that it comes out, according to the drawing, beyond the garage, or former garage, by 2 lengths, at least. So it doesn't square itself up with the edge of the house. It actually continues beyond the home. Is that correct?
It does. It currently goes to in the middle of that current existing easement across the back of the property, and then guards a large power pole there and some vegetation in the corner. Are you talking on the east side?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually talking on the south side towards Commerce.
I'm sorry, the south side, yes, southwest side.
Yes, correct.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's all right. So typically fences would terminate with structure as opposed to, extending out beyond and then as a single line of fence. So
I am fairly certain the owner would not be against removing the fence in that area.
okay.
It is also encroaching, right, in the easement?
It is actually
Yes,
in the easement. You are correct.
Yeah, it's entirely the easement for 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like maybe 5 sections to the print. But if we pull it back to the garage, you're going to remove the first 3 anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. So That's what stood out to me mostly. Anybody else? Guys, please weigh in.
This is Chairperson Gunther. I mean, look at the 9-3 versus the 11-8. I mean, it's actually much further away from the road. That must be city land there, past their property line.
Jim, can you answer
Jim?
that?
I am very sorry. I'm not understanding which area you're speaking about.
I'm actually asking, like Jim, where the driveway comes in goes to South Commerce Road,
Yes.
right at the end of Indiana. That's, what is it, city property there?
No, that is actually road right-of-way. Commerce Road encroaches into the property and then swings back out.
Right.
The property actually has 3 frontages along a main thoroughfare, which is what creates such a hardship on this lot.
Yeah.
Usually that would be a side yard setback that we're talking about. So, but no, that's road right-of-way.
Right, but there's an existing driveway on it, right?
There is an existing driveway, correct, that goes out to South Commerce.
That's
yes.
what I'm thinking. It's 9-3 from the property line, but it's really, what, 30 from the road? It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Got a question. Neil Wolfson.
Mr. Wolfson, you got to talk into the mic, like pull the mic closer towards your seat.
Okay.
Thank you.
That better now? All right. I noticed that the removal of the garage, so you're going to have cars parked on the front, like, and on the side, the asphalt driveway and everything?
So there is
Is that correct?
Yes. So there is the front drive that is wide enough to do parallel parking along the front, as well as have another car pass. So that would be the intent.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. You're planning a big family? 7 bedrooms? Wonderful.
I think their grandpa, who is here as well, is planning a big family.
I looked at that and
Yeah.
said, wow,
Pressure from the in-laws.
great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So the, one more question. So the impervious lot coverage is actually not at 48%, because that pool concrete area is going away.
Correct.
It almost looks like you are probably where it was before.
So it is currently at 60% impervious, and we are requesting 48% impervious.
So it's actually a reduction.
Yes.
Okay.
So 22%,
Yeah.
1/3 less, basically.
Now, what about the driveway in the new plan? Is that going to have just as much impervious surface as the current driveway, or does that look like it's going to be larger than before?
They were not looking at doing any work on the driveway at all. They're kind of putting all of their funds into fixing the home. So they were hoping to not do any asphalt work, so they were maintaining what's existing there. And obviously, if they were ever going to in the future, they would have to submit a site plan for it.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of net neutral right now in regards to the driveway. Then that would stay the same, so that wouldn't have a play into changing the 48% impervious surface.
That is correct.
Okay.
We are reducing a little bit of pavement in the front of the house where we're calling for landscaping. So, I mean, but that's negligible. It's about 5 feet along the frontage of the house.
Yeah. All right. Phil, anything from your corner?
No, everything seems to be the word I was thinking anyway.
All right, Jamie?
Yeah, I agree. I looked at this when I first got the plan, and I think they're making the steps in the right direction to make an improvement. Certainly, I think it would be hardship to ignore the structure that's there. So I don't have any further questions.
Yeah, I don't either, and considering the existing foundation, and the ability to reuse, I think that's a good step for this project. So I don't have anything else. Gunther?
No, I think it's a good project. I think the variances they're effectively better than what they were, and even though it's a 9.3 where it was an 11.8, it's still like 30 in that one area, right? I would like the applicants to try and fix some of that fence that's taken over the utility easement. That might be appropriate.
I would do that. I'm inclined to roll with this one on the condition that the fence is taken back to that garage corner and that area attended to. Other than that, I don't have anything. Neil, you're last on the list. Anything that you got?
Just, I think it is a tough area. When you've got that South Commerce Road where it swings around there, I think it's a very good use of that property.
Yeah.
It looks like you've done a very good job putting this thing together from what was there before. I know I always used to drive by there and see that house, oh boy.
Yeah.
And that curve and,
Hopefully it'll be much more pleasing.
yes, much better. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think the board then, we can conclude it. If somebody wants to make a motion, I don't have anything else from my chair. to go on this.
Chairman Easter, if I could just point out one thing.
Sure, Mario, go ahead.
Just to make sure that in any motion you make, you have to substantiate a practical difficulty with a findings of fact. So you have to identify whether there's unique circumstances that physically make it unable to build in compliance with the standards. You have to say if there's whether lesser variances than requested could actually be given. I think you did discuss that though with regards to the existing nonconformities, and it does indicate that at least with the impervious surface, they're coming into greater compliance with the ordinance. So that's a finding of fact. But whether there's, whether the need for this is self-created or not, I think is something that you would have to come to a determination that this is not self-created in order to substantiate granting the variances. And then with regards to whether compliance with the ordinance would unreasonably prevent the use of the site, technically, with the existing with the existing setbacks, they would have 37 square foot building envelope, but also, it's your determination if strict compliance with the ordinance would, especially with regard to the foundation, if it would be unnecessarily burdensome on them.
Yeah, that's a financial burden and an undue hardship that we would be imposing upon them. So therefore, anything to do with that foundation is absolutely tantamount to approving these variances.
Yeah, I understand. So I would just suggest that anyone that makes a motion include the reasoning for that motion in that. So for exactly like you just said, if something is unnecessarily burdensome, just include that in your motion. But the intent of the requirement of the ordinance is to have substantial findings of fact to warrant a practical difficulty. So you listed some of them. So.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, let's take these one by one. Again, I as chairman, I can't make the motion. Gunther, do you want to take a swing at them?
I'm sorry, one quick moment. We did have the applicant speak, but is there any audience participation?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Whether in person or online? Those that are attending online, if you would like to participate, we do have some instructions for you. So members of the public that wish to speak during audience participation via the virtual means, we do ask that you press star 9 on your telephone keypad. Again, that was star 9. And that will activate the raise hand feature. And then we do ask that you introduce yourself by stating your name and address for the record. Is there any audience participation from online? Any callers? Chairman, there are none.
All right. Thank you, Jen, for that. I appreciate it. Okay. So, Gunther, you want to take a shot at it?
I can certainly give a shot. Motion to approve variance of section 51-1803, reconstruction of a destroyed legally non-conforming structure. This variance from the requirement that any homestead shall be constructed only in conformance with existing regulations when a structure is destroyed to an extent greater than 100% of its SEV. The applicant's proposing reconstructing the majority of the previous non-conforming structure. Due to the irregularity of the lot and its relationship to the road, I believe that this is not of their own doing to try and make a improvement on the existing original structure.
All right. So it should exceed or surpass the 100% of the state equalized value.
Correct.
Covers the first one. All right. So second, section 51-1701, 20-foot variance. Gunther, you want to continue on that one?
Sure. The existing minimum required front yard setback, a 20.7-foot variance from the 30-foot minimum front yard setback. The home would be 9.3 from the front lot line. A motion to approve based on the regularity of the property's position from the roadway and its original footprint, with a minor modification from the original foundation. I believe this is due to the irregularity of the lot.
So anything like fooling with the foundation was undue cost and hardship to the homeowner?
Yeah, yep, obviously. Positioning the home in that area would be undue hardship to the homeowner.
All right, let's go with the next one.
Minimum required rear yard setback, a 28.4-foot variance from the 35-foot minimum rear yard setback. The home would be 6.6 feet from the rear lot line. Exactly the same reasons, the irregular lot, and actually the elimination of the pool and the paving is actually an improvement to the property. Any change other than this would make it a less than desirable financial equation for the home.
And according to the print, if we adhered to this, the house would be 14 feet wide.
Correct.
So that's unreasonable. Is that okay? Last one.
Maximum allowable impervious surface lot coverage, the variance to exceed the 35% maximum impervious surface lot coverage requirement. Applicant is proposing 48% of the lot area to be covered by impervious surface, which I believe there's a slight modification to that value that might be less than that.
Well, it was previously 60.
Okay.
And now it's requesting 48.
Okay, got it. So it is still the 48. But it is actually an improvement on the original impervious surface that was part of the original structure. Again, due to the irregular lot and its area close to the roadway, I believe it would be an undue burden on the owner to require anything less. It would make a very unusable home.
So you mentioned possibly that they're stepping forward with 12% or a 1/5 reduction in impervious surface?
Exact.
And that should be adhered to?
Correct.
Do you want to add in also, which we can?
Yeah.
That fence will be pulled back and...
Yeah. All approvals of set variances are contingent upon pulling the existing fence out of the easement, at least to the corner of the home, which looks like a couple posts worth of removal, but to make that more conforming with the lot.
We'll pull it to the corner of the garage. Correct?
Yes.
Or in line with the corner of the garage is more.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Jen, you got that one?
I do, and you can review it when you do your draft minutes.
All right, I will, for sure. I need a second, gang.
Anybody to second?
O'Rourke will second.
All right. Jen, put it to a vote.
Yes, sir. Gunther?
Yes.
Rundell?
Yes.
O'Rourke?
Yes.
Arnold?
Yes.
Easter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. All right, Jen, let's go with those two.
Yes. Okay. ZBA case 2022-2. Applicant is Anthony Verga. Location is 1760 East West Maple Road. This matter relates to the above referenced property. The site is an existing marijuana retailer located on the south side of East West Maple Road, east of Decker Road, and is zoned C2, General Commercial. The applicant is proposing to install a new freestanding sign that includes an electronic changeable copy sign area, which would provide one variance for the following section of the zoning ordinance. Variance 1, Section 51-20.08, 18A3. A variance to exceed the 15% maximum allowed area to be occupied by an electronic changeable copy sign requirement. The applicant is proposing to occupy 33.3% of the total sign area by an electronic changeable copy sign.
All righty. Okay. Ben, you got your hand in there? No? Okay. Then let's, anyone to speak on Bazanzo's behalf there?
Yes, sir. So again, please, folks, when you talk, just talk directly into the microphone, okay? So we can all hear online and in person.
Jen, real quick, I
Yes,
advise
sir.
the participant to get in front of the camera so the rest of the board can kind of see his.
Since we're gonna show like the difference, that's all.
Oh, sir, the camera right here, you need to stand in front of the camera.
Stand in front of that.
Oh, okay. Can they?
See the board in the center there, sir?
You gotta get into
more.
the view.
Yeah.
Mike.
I think you gotta be here. Right here.
Right over
You gotta be here.
There you are.
There you
That's what the
go.
board can see. There you go.
Board members, can you see what he's trying to demonstrate for you? Is that a yes? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so right now we're at 9 inches and we're going to 17 inches, which is the difference, what he's showing there. Our hardship is that they don't make signs that small. This is Mike from W4 Signs. It wouldn't make the actual sign any bigger, it would just make the digital part 8 inches taller. We feel like the smaller sign would be pointless to use because you couldn't see it from the road. And we would like to put this sign up because our building is so far set back from the road that people constantly pass us. And you know, if anybody lives in this town, that Maple's a very busy road, and if you got to turn around, it's not that easy. So we were hoping to use this sign to draw in the people that are looking for us, because we also have a very odd name, and nobody knows what a provisioning center is exactly, so sometimes we get people coming in looking for groceries or food. So we'd like to separate that and make it more clear of what kind of business we are, and be able to communicate that to the community.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, you're asking for motion LED style sign, right?
Yeah, that's the area we're talking about. It's acceptable at 9 inches, but we're asking for 17 inches.
Correct, okay. Thank you.
And I also would like to state that Bazanto's is bringing Comcast fiber optic to the city, so maybe it'll help out with some of these problems that you have with your Wi-Fi.
Thank you. Let's take a peek here. I couldn't see your position for the monument style side, right? We're talking monument style, not on a post, but in ground when we talk monument style.
Correct.
That it's a ground level on a pier and like a monument would be.
Correct.
This is going to the roadside of the sidewalk?
No, it'd be on our, in a flower bed on our side of the sidewalk.
Okay, all right. Yeah, didn't mention my mistake, thank you.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
The sign meets all the ordinance, it's just the LED portion, so as far as the square footage, everything, it meets the city ordinance. So we're just asking to do 8 inches on the LED portion of it.
Okay.
So the sign was, it would be approved if it wasn't for the LED
Yeah.
message board.
So, gotcha. So conforming monument size, style marker, like Arby's, right? To give people an idea, I guess, for reference. Curious about the light output on this one. We've gone a little round and round in the city with these before, and we've not had one for a business in the main thoroughfare, and I don't believe there is one on East-West Maple.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the area.
Yeah, there's one here at the city building, and then there's one at our old location in front of the old subway. There's an electronic sign up on a pole that still actually says our name for some reason. I don't know why, but
sorry, that's up. And you know what? I didn't count the city as a business, so sorry, city.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go ahead.
Just to let you know, in the current ordinance, any sign is required to be limited to 50-foot candles power output. And then they would also be restricted to any of the other regulations of signs, meaning no motion, no video, no star swipes, and that sort of thing. So it would be strictly, the only question before you is the size of the sign. They will be required to comply with all other requirements of the zoning ordinance. So that 50-foot candle power output and the other requirement that the sign shall not produce blinking or animated messages.
Yep.
So if they were to have anything like that, or if the light level was too intense, that is something that ordinance enforcement could require them to fix, because they would not be allowed to do that. So it's really the size of it.
Go ahead. Could you cover the animation part one more time?
So within the ordinance, it specifically states that such signs shall not produce blinking or animated messages. This is something that in the past, lesser technology was trying to create, as much activity and animation as they could. Nowadays, these things are basically televisions. They can basically show a video, but it doesn't matter with the technology, because our ordinance specifically requires them that they shall not not just them, any LED sign in the city shall not produce blinking or animated messages. So that would include video and, when they have the swipes of the images and everything. And that's actually one of the reasons why the smaller sign kind of limits them, because an animated message, for example, if they only had a 9-inch size sign, and if they wanted to have text scroll across so that someone could read it as they drive along the road, to get a full message instead of the little one, they technically couldn't do that either because it's not supposed to scroll or be animated. So that smaller size is actually limiting them to only one line of text. The variance would provide them substantial justice because the other signs that exist in the city, as mentioned, it's City Hall sign, the one sign in front of the multi-tenant building. I think it's west of Taco Bell. And then one of the churches on Pontiac Trail has one too. They all have two, their height is such that they are allowed to have 2 lines of text. So other signs in the city do have 2 lines of text.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I know for East-West Maple, we have enough trouble with traffic on Maple as it is without putting scrolling messages or anything else out there for them to try to watch. But, standalone, non-motion, correct. Gunther?
Yeah, I'm sort of struggling with, okay, so they don't make a module that size, but you can put an escutcheon around it that blocks the size so that you're in compliance. What are we really trying to accomplish here?
Is that Tess?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What's your real, you could put up a bigger screen that you can buy and then close it off.
We're just asking for 8 inches. 8 inches, that's it, on the screen size. And like it says, it's going to give you 2 lines of text. It's going to be legible when the drivers are coming by. They're going to be able to read it. We're not looking to do like a flashy movie or anything like that. It's strictly going to follow the ordinance. So we just want to make sure the customers know where they're going. Because I went there like 3 times already, and I pass it every single time because I can't see it. You can't see the sign on the building. The building sits away from the road.
Yeah, I personally drove here, past it on the way home and on the way here, and it's obvious it's Bazanzo's.
Well, you can see Bazanzo's when you see it, like if you're looking that way, but I can't see it. You drive right past it every time.
Yeah, they're constantly turning around at Arby's and down the road.
Yeah, and I've done that too. Like I said, I had it on my GPS and I still pass it. So, but it's not going to be, like I said, we're not going for the movies. We're just going for the text only. We're just going to abide by your rules, and we just want to make sure the customers know where they're going, because they don't really know. Like you said, it could be like a food market, the provisioning part of it. They don't know what Bazanzo's do. So we're just trying to make sure they know it.
Reasons why a standard monument like Arby's, just lit Bazanzo's out at the road edge, wouldn't suffice if we're not scrolling or adding other messages?
I guess we just wanted to be able to talk to the public about if there's recalls or if there's anything going on, to be able to talk to the public while people are sitting in traffic there. Arby's is up on a pole. I would prefer it on the pole, but I know with the ordinance I'm not allowed to put it up on a pole.
They have a monument out front.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to put mine on a pole because I'm too close to Arby's, which is on a pole, is what I was told.
No, all right, now let's table this real quick. Jim, you have your hand up. Chair recognizes Mr. Wright.
I just want to mention one thing, whether it's related to the sign there or not. The building is well lit up at night. They do have streaming lights that go on the building, string lights that light up that whole building at night. It was just a point that I wanted to bring out. It is a really bright building during the night with those string lights that they have going down the front of that building.
That's a Christmas decoration I was planning on taking down, but...
Yeah, I haven't gotten to mine either.
It's going to be 40 tomorrow, so I'm already told I got to do it tomorrow.
Can I ask one question too? How many messages, like each city's different? For example, like Brighton Township, they're only allowed to do like 4 per hour. Are you allowed to change messages like during the day, or is it one message for that whole day and then you change it the next day?
Mario?
The current ordinance requires that a changeable message delivered by the sign shall be no more than 4 times per minute.
4 times per minute.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
So that's actually pretty generous, in my
That's generous,
opinion.
that's very generous,
Wouldn't
yes.
that make it a flashing sign?
That's moving.
So
That's,
basically,
that's a lot, really.
that is.
That's the ordinance,
We're not going,
what
we're not going
allows.
there, so, we just want to keep it simple and maybe a few during the day.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
About signs, what I've noticed in the past, like if you ever see signs about these different types of arts and crafts shows or art shows, usually it's something like this, and if you're driving, you can't even read it.
Yeah.
I can see what he's getting at. Driving by that, it's hard to see the entrance. And I think that's one of the main problems.
Yes.
You see the Banzonzo Provisioning Center right on the building, but by then you've gone past the entrance. I noticed on some of the other companies around, different different stores and stuff, have like across the street there, I guess the little strip mall there. They got this one big sign with all kinds of different people on it, but you can see, especially at night, you can see where the entrance is. And I think that's why maybe some people go by without how to get in there. So it doesn't like it's, and I see where it's set back from the road and set back on the grass part just before the sidewalk there, and that's near where the entrance is. So I can see that there is an advantage there, and I don't think it's an undue restriction not improving it.
Right.
Concerning
And I'm not opposed to a sign
Yeah.
in the area. For sure, I'm just curious. I want to know why an LED with the capability of scroll versus a standard monument sign lit at the same location, showing the entrance, lighting up the name and motto, whatever that would be on the sign to indicate the drive, and they turn in and see the giant name that's on the building currently.
It's all about messages. We want to send a message to the public, like our specials. So we want to be able to provide them, the recalls. We want the people, the customers to know what's going on with our business. So that's the key right there. It's just the messages getting across to the consumers coming by.
Okay. Considering evolution of signs in the city from where we are or were to what the city has in its plan, to date, I wonder, Mario, can I ask you the question, in planning, the city has an outward vision of what she wants to see, what to be. I mean, all this is kind of set forward for the next bunch of years for us. Is this a sign that has been taken into account and that the city sees as the future of a neon or LED, shall we say this time, lit sign and, throughout town?
Well, I will say, with regards to just these types of signs in general, they definitely serve a function for any business, because previously the changeable copy area, and the reason it's called that is because back in the day it was the plastic letters that had to go up there and people would have to do manually. With an electronic sign, it makes it more functional for the applicant, for the property owners to create a different message for their customers. So it's something, and it is something that is permitted in a majority of cities. So I don't see it being, I do see it as something that would probably be with the future of the city itself, especially since it's currently in the ordinance. I would say that those standards probably do need to be updated. For example, the frequency of the message does seem to be a little excessive, but also even the size of the sign maybe would have to take a look at that. For example, the fact that the existing signs that we do have in the city do seem to be greater than the 15%, or at least they are legible in area. So I don't know if that's because the size of the existing sign is bigger. They're proposing a 25 square foot sign. In theory, they could, if they had more room on their property, they could have a bigger sign, and then that would give them a bigger LED sign. They're just restricted right now because the location that it could fit doesn't go deep enough to create a larger sign. So for the city in general, I think we just look at the size and scale of them to make sure they're not obtrusive. But then also I would say that definitely that the most obtrusive thing of these signs is the brightness. One thing I know in most of my and all my other communities is we do require a dimmer installed on the sign to control the light level, because, and I'll tell you, the 50-foot candle standard, it's hard to say if that's a really even the right unit to be measuring, because technically you're supposed to measure the illuminance, and that's measured in, I want to say lumens. So that that you're technically supposed to be measuring the light that the sign is actually projecting. And foot candles is usually a measurement of the light level on a surface. So it might be something where the ordinance needs to be adjusted for that. But we do have other ordinances that will control it. For example, there are other nuisance ordinances. It's a public safety issue with regard to the east-west Maple traffic, So provided there is a dimmer installed, the light level of the sign could be adjusted to ensure that the light brightness does not impact drivers. And actually the way that's measured is typical signage in a street. It's not illuminated, but it's lit by your headlights. And so the standard that most communities go with is to make sure that the transition from seeing a regular street sign, like say, or even the light at East West Maple, to transition from something you're looking at that's too bright to go to that, if you can't transition easily, that negatively impacts traffic.
Who measures that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I interrupted, Mario. Go ahead and finish your thought. My apologies.
No. I was just going to say that there are eventual quantitative ways to make sure that the signs don't impact the vision of drivers. So that's something we'd include in a revised sign ordinance as well. But I do see them as being something that would be acceptable in part of the future for business owners throughout the city.
All right, and our check and balance for this is ordinance currently, so Paul or whoever's got the ordinance at the time?
Correct. Yes, there's
sorry, and it's ticketable, correct?
Yes, and it's something that there are other ordinances, nuisance ordinances, or public safety ordinances, or even traffic control orders. If the police chief issued a traffic control order, we have other tools that could regulate all electronic message signs to make sure that they do not create any kind of safety issue.
Okay.
And who does that measurement again? If let's say that we go ahead and approve this, we approve it with also a exception of a dimmer being installed on the sign as well, then who goes out and measures it, and who maintains measurements on ensuring that the dimmer isn't being turned up or that it's not down too low or any of those factors?
Just like Mr. Wright might have an issue with that. Our solution for that too. Go ahead, Jim.
Mr. Rourke, typically what I require on a sign that there may be a question to is that I have the applicant have their electrical engineer actually go and give us a meter reading of the looms of that. Now, it doesn't happen too often, but if there's a sign that's installed or we've had complaints about a sign that's too bright, that's why I immediately do is I request that they have an electrical engineer come out and do a loom test, a meter test of that brightness. And it's typically done dawn, dusk, dark, so you can get a proper reading.
Can I ask a question? What is the loom ordinance? Like, what would you like to see as far as the looms go?
This is Mike, he owns the
I'm
sign
sorry.
company.
Sorry.
He's the owner of the sign company.
I mean, we could put a dimmer on, but like I said, we want to meet all the ordinance. We want to do this right. I just want to make sure, like, if you have a certain, like, level that you want to be, we could pretty much set it at that level.
Right now, as I mentioned, the existing ordinance uses a foot candle, and it's 50-foot candles, and that's pretty bright, actually. So that's not, and I know that's the wrong quantitative metric too. So in terms of, I think it'd be nits or, I believe it's nits is that unit. Well, that's the colloquial term for the unit. But something that is similar, once again, to not be excessive brightness. And, you know, I wish I had a good
I think we can
example of that. I mean, it might be something
We always
may
could
have-
start out, and if you think, like, if someone drives by and you think it's, like, too bright, we always could bring it down, too. So we could start out, like, not too bright, not too low, dim, but we could start out, like, right here, and then if something, like, you drive by and you say, oh, that's too high, and then we would have to adjust it accordingly, so.
And that would be something that could actually be helpful in terms of the city developing what light level they feel is appropriate.
Yeah.
Mario? Mario, there's actually a standard that's set for road signs by the state of Michigan for the reflectivity of a sign. And that gets to exactly what you're talking about at driving at night, the reflectivity of other signs. There's actually a standard set by that. So if we were to consider something like that, I would suggest we'd want to probably use that standard that the state has.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jay, if you recall, we had the St. Matthew's sign where we dealt with the lumens and that whole thing, and I think that was settled the same way, like Mr. Wright said. They checked it out. There were locals who were concerned about the brightness, and I believe we put that into the motion for approval that it be tested and qualified for the ordinance.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with this whole thing anyway. You know what, would a standard monument sign be it? No, if they want to put messages, is a hardship created by themselves only because they want a larger message? Technically, my understanding is they wouldn't need us without wanting to go to a larger sign. They have a right to put a monument sign out there of their choosing. So basically, we're at odds with the safety of the people on Maple and the frequency of message. We don't need running characters, and that's not allowed anyway. And it sounds like we have a test bed with Mr. Wright and our ordinance officer to come back. It also sounds like they're willing part of this will be to install a dimmer, I do believe, and that we would have to find the happy medium on this, because this is truly our first case of this type of sign, not on a pole, on a major thoroughfare. So we'll have to come up with, as Mario said, that 50 candle may be just too much, and we'll work with them. They'll work with us, and we'll come to an agreement with the city. So putting that in as the part of the approval for the larger screen, I'd see fit. Mario, anything you think we would want to add to that?
No, I think that's very reasonable, because it takes into account the once again the substantial justice to other property owners, the fact that other signs like this do exist in the city, and the fact that you have a case history of coming to a reasonable conclusion. I think Mr. Andel mentioned that, so that's substantiates the need for the practical difficulty on the site.
Okay, so Phil, you want to take a shot at, or Dennis, at putting this one in?
Do we have any audience
Oh, I'm sorry.
participation?
Audience participation. Thank you, Jen. I keep forgetting.
No, that's okay. There is none from the physical meeting. Is there any audience participation that signed in virtually? We do ask that you hit *9 on your telephone keypad to use the raise hand option. *9. And there are none, Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Somebody want to make a motion on this one? Anyone? Jamie? Bill?
I was trying to put it together.
Okay, great, thank you.
On case 2022-2, 1760 East West Maple Road, relates to the reference parcel site existing marijuana retailer, is requesting a variance from the following section. And the motion is to approve or to grant the variance.
On condition?
Section 51-20.08, 18A3, a variance exceeds the 15% maximum allowed area occupied electronic changeable copy sign requirement. Again, it's approval, but based on the requirement that all city ordinances revolving around illumination and intensity of light on the sign we granted.
So that the sign shall be adjustable for lighting operation to vary
Yeah,
the intensity.
correct. Illumination, yes. That's correct.
This is Arnold, I second.
All right, Jen? Call us off.
All right, one moment. Rundell?
Yes.
O'Rourke?
I might have missed this. Did we include having a dimmer included in this, or was that not included in this motion?
Yes, right? Jen, you got the sign?
I did list dimmer requirement, yes.
Very good, yeah.
Thank you.
Very well put.
Yes.
Okay. Arnold?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
Easter?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Let's see.
Yeah. Hey guys,
Yeah.
make sure it's tasteful.
Oh, yeah, you saw the sign.
Yeah, just make sure this messaging's tasteful.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
for sure. We don't
It's
want
gotta
no
be a nice
trouble.
looking sign.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's see. I don't think we have anything else for today. No, we don't have any. We are all good. So I'm just going to need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
That was Gunther, and who's the second?
Rundell.
Rundell, beautiful.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Good night,
Okay,
everybody.
folks.
Thank you very much, Mario. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Jim,
you.
you too.